Some more good stuff from the Science of Mind magazine daily guides. And of course, this month, as I said, different writers each day. Isn't that good? It's kind of cool. You know, there's pluses and minuses to this. I mean, one plus of being the same person is you often get a consistent theme throughout the whole month. But you don't often get a lot of variety. However, when it's a different writer each day, you get plenty of variety. So welcome, my friends, to another reading. I'm going to get on with it. First of all, I'm going to tell you a little bit about our writer. His name is Reverend Dr. David Goldberg, and he was let me tell you what it says about him. He's a lifelong fan of the Olympic Games. He earned his doctorate in ethical and creative leadership with a focus on creativity, in diversity, and in social justice. He's the former publisher and editor of Guide for Spiritual Living Science of Mind magazine, and he's an ordained religious science minister, like myself and my colleagues. He speaks, teaches, and offers workshops all around the world. You can learn more at Dr. David S. Gold, right, the metal, Berg, BERG.com. So there you are. And his introduction to his writing, which was from the February 2018 edition, was really talking about the guy who founded the Olympic Games. I've heard pluses and minuses about him. He was, I think it was French. It's called Baron Pierre de Coubertin, and he lived from like halfway through the 1800s to 1900s. French idealist, educator, and historian. And he formed the Olympic Games because he believed that children of all races and all religious beliefs, etc., should have a chance to compete. Olympicism is not a system, it is a state of mind, he wrote. It can permeate a wide variety of modes of expression, and no single race or era can claim to have a monopoly on it. Anyway, it goes on and talks more about him anyway. So hence, the theme is really appropriate, right? Because we are almost in the process of winding down the Olympic Games right now. And of course, the US has done really well, which you would expect because we had the most athletes there, of course. And let's have a look. The first quote is from Babe Didrikson Zacharias, and she and her father emigrated from Scandinavia and settled in the Port Arthur area, and that's where she went to school, which is, of course, not too far from here. And she was an accomplished athlete. She was an Olympian, 2 gold medals, a silver medal. She was also a seamstress. She was good at basketball. She was pretty good right across the board with lots and lots of things. So that's her. What does she have to say? Luck? Sure, but only after long practice and only with the ability to think under pressure. And that could apply to certainly it applies to the Olympics, but it can also apply to lots of things in life. Luck, sure, but only after long practice and only with the ability to think under pressure. Some people say we make our own luck. Babe Didrikson Zacharias. Ernest Holmes says, practically the whole human race is hypnotized because it thinks what somebody else told it to think. Practically the whole human race is hypnotized because it thinks what somebody else told it to think. And you can see that in a lot of, for instance, going on right now, political rallies. A lot of people out there, they just want to be told what to think. Why? Because it's the easy way out. It's hard to be an original thinker. Anyway, but that is part of our job, I believe. Anyway, this is from Reverend David Goldberg. Olympic thinkers focus on results. Having a good excuse for a poor performance does not compare with the feelings of accomplishment from results. Quote, only the best practice when they don't feel like it or when it's inconvenient. unquote. And that was Olympic gold medalist Peter Bidmore. He said, my daily goal in training was to leave knowing that I'd done everything that I could. And Reverend Goldberg is on to say, Olympic thinkers figure out a way to stay on track with their work, their program, their training program, or their health program. Here's on to say, those who are new to our teaching sometimes express confusion when thinking about our name, science of mind or religious science. Yep, we use them interchangeably. The results aren't easily understood from the name. It's why many of our ministers and centers spend a fair amount of time explaining who we are by including who we aren't, or why we bless all people and all paths to the divine. He says, Ernest Holmes was a mystic, among other things. Holmes said his work was looking for, quote, the golden thread, unquote, in all of the world's religious traditions. Ours has been described as, quote, ancient wisdom, new thought, unquote. He says, one of the many things I appreciate about religious science is that we are encouraged to think and form our own ideas and opinions. We don't have a strict dogma to which people must adhere. Holmes believed in being firmly grounded in principle, open at the top, are willing to consider new thoughts, if you prefer, new ideas and new concepts, regardless of where they came from. One of his most powerful statements and the guiding light is, change your thinking, change your life. Now that you're changing your thinking, how and when will you take action and implement those changes? Reverend David Goldberg, PhD. And as I said, that was from February 2018. It's kind of funny this should come up because at our Toastmasters club today, one of the ladies gave a talk which was in principle about the separation of church and state. And she asked a few questions. Why did a lot of the people come from Europe over to the US? Not the ones who didn't have any choice, like people who are enslaved, or like the people who were pushed into, what do they call it? I forgot, like apprenticeship, but you don't have a chance to get out until you've done so many years. I forgot the name of it. Oh, indentured servitude. No, the people who came of their own volition, why did most of them come? They came to avoid religious persecution. The Puritans came because they didn't like the Church of England, Episcopalians, if you like, here. They thought that they'd left in too many things from the Catholic faith, and they were trying to get rid of it. But then other groups came across as well. And then what happened was these groups who came for religious freedom started persecuting, if that's the right word, other people who didn't adhere to their ideas, who didn't believe in their ideas. So, for instance, the Puritans really looked down and actually cut the ears off Quakers, for instance. People were not allowed to think other than that religion in the area. Sometimes it was statewide. And of course, they weren't states like we know them now. Area-wide. There were all these different pockets of settlers decided you must follow this religious belief or you'll be punished. They made laws to punish people. Can you believe that? People didn't go to church on a Sunday. They were punished. People who spoke out against a particular way of expressing Christianity were punished by law. So it's ironic. And he's saying the same thing here in a way, that one of the things about science of mind, religious science, is that we accept people with all belief systems. Lots of our people who come to our center, they go to a Christian church or a mosque, or they go to a temple. They go to different places as well as ours. Ernest Holmes, when he founded Science of Mind, religious science, he intended to introduce it to the world as a philosophy. We've said this many times, but the really important message is this. He didn't intend to say, you must be a religious scientist, or you're going to get banished to something when you die, or you're not going to have a successful life. No, his idea, he said, you know, if you are a good Protestant, you're a good Catholic, you're a good Jew, you're a good Hindu, you're a good Muslim, this teaching can help you be better at what you are. And then he said, as is quoted here, open at the top. What does that mean? It means that we should be open to looking at our ideas and saying, are these still valid? Are these still valid in the light of scientific evidence? Are they still valid in the light of the way the world's populations have changed and developed? So that, to me, is a summary of what's going on here. The affirmation is, I engage my heart and my head as I explore my glorious place in the universe. I don't think anybody should have an argument with that. There will be. I engage my heart and my head as I explore my glorious place in the universe. That's just something that's good for anybody, right? So, what do you think of the reading? Do you like it? If you do, give us a thumbs up. Like us on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, wherever you actually end up seeing this. We love that. And finally, take a deep breath. Let it go slowly. One of the things we often forget to do is just to simply be here right now, in your seat, wherever you are, on a plane, in a car, in your house, on a couch, on a chair, with a pet, with a friend, with a significant other, wherever you are. I just wish you all a wonderful rest of the day. And I encourage you to come tomorrow morning to listen to Reverend Lisa at 9 o'clock. And also remember, our sacred activism begins at 7 p.m. this evening. I may miss part of the first class. 7 p.m. this evening, sacred activism. If you want to be able to take part in it, info@creativelife.org. info@creativelife.org, and that will get you the link. And then you can choose how much you want to contribute. It's suggested $20 a class, $150 for 8 classes. However, it is open to you to what you believe you should give and what you can afford to give, and what you, most importantly, what you think is a reasonable amount for you to give. And for some people, that might be very little. So until next time, namaste. Whoops. And if my mouse will behave, I will be saying au revoir.